Ikemoto has just released a bunch of information in his most recent interview, and some of it has to deal with Momoshiki's powers, his ability to see the future, and just how good of an ability it is, alongside more information about the Shinju and various characters in the Boruto series. So before we even dive deep into more theories about this upcoming chapter, let's just discuss all the most recent information that we have had be released. And this was done for the 9th anniversary of the series in total, 9 years of Boruto, Naruto Next Generations, and including Boruto 2 Blue Vortex. So here we begin with the very first question, and the question that is being posed is, tell us why Boruto changed the way he calls Sasuke. The answer that Ikimoto gave is after he helped him escape Konoha, Boruto felt that Sasuke was really his master, and that he was his pupil. Master the next day, Sasuke was reluctant at first, but he was indeed Boruto's master, so he gradually accepted it. As we can see right here, this was something that a lot of people did talk about, the fact that Boruto was always correcting himself. When he was trying to call him Uncle Sasuke, then he would say Master. We see that multiple times throughout Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, and some people have brought it up and be like, why is he doing that? Is it because of omnipotence? Is it because Sasuke doesn't want him to call him Uncle anymore due to the fact that he is under the omnipotence, and although he is helping Boruto out due to Sarada, there are still some of those effects. So there is multiple theories out there, but what we can see here that it is simply Boruto due to everything that we're seeing right now and the training arc that he underwent with Sasuke and everything that Sasuke did for Boruto in him saving him. He wants to call Sasuke his master to show that level of respect, which we know is quite important in Japanese culture. The next question is about Ada and Damien, and the question is, Ada and Damien have cosmic/space motif accessories on them. Why? Ikimoto says, I wanted them to stand out from usual Boruto/Naruto characters, and since they are two characters with extraordinary abilities, I thought a cosmic motif would suit their design, and I definitely do like it, due to the simple fact that we one have where her eye and how it resembles a crescent moon, and we also do know that they have powers from a god, from an alien god who is the one who ended up creating the universe, whether it be actually Shiba or Tsuki, or a completely different god. Regardless, it was with those powers that Shiba has that the one who created this entire world, this entire universe, was able to do so. With powers like omnipotence and some of the reflective abilities that Damien have, we do see that it is coming from an Otsutsuki god that has been confirmed by Momoshiki himself. So them having this design, I think it is pretty cool to see, and I do like the fact that Ikimoto has done so. The next question says, was the power Damien felt from Himawari actually Kurama? And the answer that he ends up giving is quite important and does end up revealing a lot about what we could see in the future when it comes to Himawari's powers. He says Damien actually felt the future synergy potential of Himawari, who is of Uzumaki and Hyuga bloodline, and Kurama's chakra. This probably meant that Anne has Kurama's chakra due to her genetics, as we do see that just like Naruto and other people that had some of Kurama's powers, she does have the whiskers. But all in all, this is quite important, as a lot of people are seeing that Himawari could potentially be reduced to a healer, as she has healed 3 people. Inogen, who seemed like he was dead, he was literally a donut and was brought back to life. Boruto, after he was shot by Jura, and also Sarada, after she was shot by Jura. Himawari also ended up healing her. So with the path that the story was taken to some, as she did heal a lot of people, they believed that Himawari would end up having this healer role. I'm not saying that this is not a potential thing for a character and that I have a problem with it to be specific, but due to the fact that Damien felt a future synergy potential, something that made him think about hitting Himawari and Himawari being able to dodge it, or being able to slap back an attack of her own, there is potential to say that her powers are going to lean. Obviously, there's the healing side, but there are going to be that physical side that she ended up showing to the likes of Jura. So there is a lot of potential when it comes to Himawari's powers in the future, and I'm really excited to see exactly how far and how much they will show about that potential, as they did mention the Hyuga bloodline. Are there going to be powers Hyuga related that we never seen be combined with Kurama's chakra and Kurama's powers? Or Uzumaki things? We did see a bit of the Uzumaki when it came to the chains and how it was able to tame it, and how Kushina was able to utilize her powers. But looking at that Hyuga bloodline, I really would love to see how exactly it works. I do point back all of the time to that one picture we saw of Boruto with Kurama's chakra from Ikimoto, and I truly believe that it's going to be Himawari's powers. And in that picture, we did end up seeing Boruto have the Byakugan. Himawari, who has the Byakugan and has already been shown to use it, maybe not in the manga, but definitely in the anime, we could see something quite interesting with those powers that Damon was able to sense. And him being able to sense future synergy is quite interesting to see the wording. Maybe the translation is a little bit wrong, and he simply saw the potential and not necessarily Himawari in the future, but this is some interesting wording that we have here. And the question that a lot of people wanted answered is what is written in the books that Jura is constantly reading. And the answer we get is that it is actually Jura's personal notes. It contains various information, daily discoveries, things that interest him or he is curious about. It's an important tool for him to keep track of the growing mass of information he learns on a daily basis. So that's essentially his notepad, and whenever he reads books, like we have seen him go to the Leaf Village to collect, he ends up writing down the information in his notepad, almost like a diary for him, where he writes everything that he is curious about. And I like this, that they add this a little bit of nuance to his character, something that is quite cool to see from Jura, and shows a lot about his personality at the moment. The next question discusses the title of this video, which is about Momoshiki's powers. During his talk with Amato, Boruto sees a glimpse of the future. Is it related to Kashin Koji's ability, the 10 directions, or the prescience? Ikimoto says it's one of Momoshiki's personal abilities. It allows him to see bits and fragments of the future. It may seem similar to Kashin Koji's ability in some way, but unlike prescience, it's not a senjutsu and considered inferior in terms of performance. Now this is something that is kind of interesting to me, as we have always viewed the Otsukis as gods, obviously, in some way, but with the more information that is revealed, the actual gods are those who have consumed thousands of planets until they have reached this stage where they end up transcending this current dimension and go into another one. That has been the perspective of gods that we have. However, with Momoshiki, since he is an Otsutsuki and we do see him call himself a god and others call him god or at least a celestial being, I had the opinion, and a lot of people did, that all of his abilities, or at least some, or at least in this case his ability to see the future, was senjutsu. However, it is not, which means that it is ninjutsu. So there is definitely this level of confusion, and this is just my raw reactions to some of the stuff that I'm reading. Haven't really dove in deep in that personally, so I have my own personal reasoning for everything, but you guys definitely let me know. And if this isn't senjutsu, do all of the Otsukis not have a senjutsu ability? How does one go about obtaining a senjutsu? Because we do know that characters like Momoshiki have eaten multiple different chakra fruits, but we see with Ishiki he has a shinjutsu, which is his Sukuna Hikonen, but Momoshiki, we haven't really seen any confirmed or named senjutsu from his side. So what exactly allows an Otsutsuki to obtain a senjutsu? Because from the moment, it seems like it deals a little more with just eating a chakra fruit. As Momoshiki, we have seen him eat a chakra fruit, but none of his abilities have been named to be Otsutsuki. A lot of his abilities haven't actually been named, but it's kind of interesting that his ability to see the future is not a senjutsu. So I really wonder the criteria. Where does and how does Himawari live after part 1? And this is a question that has caused a lot of controversy, and I did answer some of it, so I won't go too in depth, but it says at her own request, she lives alone in her family's home. She feels that they will somehow return and wants to protect their home until they return. So this has caused a lot of people to hate Kawaki and some of the Hyuga clan members, as they didn't want Himawari to live by herself. But a key point here is that this is her own request. So probably people have begged her to, oh, you can come live here, you can come live there, but she refused to. And we know that with Kawaki, he is still low-key on that mission that we had before with Boruto and Kawaki, who had to stay in Ida and Damien's home and basically live with them. This was the spot and essentially their mission. So I don't really feel any type of way for Kawaki. The next question is kind of trivial, but we'll still see it and explore it. It's about what's Kawaki's favorite teriyaki flavor. And he says at first he liked chocolate teriyaki the best, but it didn't take too long for him to settle down with bean paste flavor. I don't really know or have tasted it before. If anybody has in the comments, definitely let me know which one is your personal favorites. I'm not a really big fan of chocolate flavors unless it's with something that's like hits close to home, like bread and chocolate. But if you guys have tried it, definitely let me know. Now, the final question, and the question that got me kind of hyped, especially with my current understanding of the Shinju, and you guys have seen with previous videos how I've discussed my opinion on the Shinju and exactly what they do and what they are at the current moment, is discussed with this following question, and does prove that some of my theories and analysis on the Shinju have been right. And this is a question we have: how do the Shinju get personalities? For example, Ryu's personality is nothing like Shinki. And Ikemoto says this: everyone has two faces, the one they show to the public and the one they keep to themselves. Something very useful to live in society. Since the Shinju have just been born not too long ago, they don't have this notion. They are thus primitive and true to their instincts, even if they give a different vibe from their original selves. This may be a hint to the original's true personality. So one thing that is quite interesting here, and we do have to analyze, and I have talked about this in the past, this is talking about the persona and the shadow, which I have been talking about a lot in one of my previous analysis concerning Sarada and Hidari. And it deals with this notion, just like Ikimoto has just described, that the persona is what we show to society, our strengths, our ambitions, everything that makes us look good in society. And with our shadow, those are the things that we hide from ourselves. Those are the ways in which we act that we deem not to look good to society and can cause people to look down upon us. So we hide it in our shadow. We hide that side of ourselves. Just like Ikimoto has said, the ones that are shown to the public, the persona, and the ones that you keep to yourself, the shadow. And oftentimes, people even hide it from themselves, not examining who they truly are in the end. So what Ikimoto is saying is that the personalities that are revealed is the encapsulation of all of that, which is both the persona and shadow, which is shown through the Shinju. Each Shinju may seem to act different, but that's who that character was from the very beginning. We see that with Ryu was probably a little goofy, he is quite talkative, we see him talk a lot, make a lot of jokes, he's the funniest Shinju out there. But with Shinki himself, we don't see that side of him. What he does show to people is that he is very respectful of his elders. And we see that with characters like Gaara, how he always calls them senpai, and how he always shows respect towards elders. And we also see this with Ryu, how he calls Jura senpai, and is respectful to Matsuri. So we have both of these sides being shown, while with Shinki himself, he doesn't show his shadow, but with Ryu, it is exposed. Both his shadow and persona are exposed through Ryu. So due to the fact that he was hiding his shadow from the world, we deemed that Shinki was this guy who didn't have the other side of him. But through Ryu, all sides of Shinki are being revealed, and it's the same thing with all of these different characters. The love that Matsuri had for Konohamaru was kept in her shadow and wasn't shown throughout the world, while her persona of being this sensory ninja that is very calm, that is the leader of her team, I believe it is Team 10, that was always shown out, and the fact that she is capable of doing so both as Matsuri and as Moegi. But with Matsuri, we end up seeing that she shows her shadow as a Shinju, with her being open about the fact that she ends up loving Konohamaru and the jealousy that she is capable of showing, which we do not see that Moegi is capable of showing that. as she ends up hiding it in her shadow and not displaying it to other people. So with this dynamic that is currently being shown, we're seeing how with Ikimoto right now and these villains, I can talk about this for hours, we see the current writing that is being established here. And to find out more about this writing, you have to start by watching this video right here, as I discuss exactly how the shadow, persona, and when it is combined, a character can end up growing. So make sure to watch this video right here.